Well, good morning. No, it's good afternoon, everyone. A cold winter's day here. 16.5 degrees. Barely miserable, isn't it? The heat of the day is gone, though. And my plan today is go for a ride up to a place called Waihee there. That's about 60 kilometres north of Tauranga. And there's a lovely beach there. We'll just go and have a look at that. And the other thing is the par site at Bowentown Head. I thought we'll have a look at that too. It's always a lovely place to have a look out on a lovely sunny afternoon. So I've had a little bit more mail from the Chinaman. He sent me more bling to put on the bike. What a challenge it was just to put some what they call them, cruise pegs on the front. Instead of having your legs in one spot on the big highway, you can pop out these little pegs down here. See them there? And that gets your boot forward. Just change the position of your legs while you're going along the highway. You can flip them up and flip them down with your boot. And I'm looking forward to trying that today. The other thing that's changed on the bike since my last ride is driving lights. I got two of them there sitting down on my crash bars facing forward. Now they're so bright that I had to point them to the ground really, so they're aiming down at about 45 degrees. If I turn them straight up, I think I'd weld these cars to the bridge here. So I have to get a resistor or something on them to tone them down a bit. They're just too bright. But anyway, they're on the bike now, and I can see if I can improve that. I've got the switch right here in front of me. Just see where my finger's pointing, and that's off and on. When they came from China, they had alternate flashing like so, or they come in strobes dancing and everything like a cop was pulling you up. So I know that would attract attention, so I cut that piece out and just wired them so that they were straight either on or off. And I've got them wired so that they won't go unless they're the key's turned on, so that should save my battery as well. Now there's another thing that I've got too, and that seems to be good, and I wanted to try that today on my ride. Was a set of braces onto my trousers. I found that these dry rider riding pants moved down too far, and they weren't comfortable after a while, so I got a pair of braces. Now, I've never worn braces in my life, but they hold up the trousers right in under my crutch there, and so far they're comfortable there, and nobody will know that they're on unless I take my jacket off. I remember looking after old blokes in the institution at Seaview there and putting braces on them, and I think, hell, I hope I never get that old that I'm wearing braces. But there you go. You never know, do you? But I see quite a few fellas wearing braces just to hold their bricks up. And it's not that I'm fat or a belt doesn't work, but I think the braces will work even better. Better watch me speed getting here, because this is quite a notorious accident spot heading north. They were going to put a new highway through here. This is the main highway north along the bay to Waihee, and then through the mountains, the Kaimai Range, over to Thames and on up to Auckland. And I just see an announcement about 2 weeks ago that they've discontinued this upgrade of this road here. But to make it better, they've put these passing lanes in here, and that's improved it no end. But it really is a bottleneck. So I'm getting out here before the heavy track at 5, and I'll be back before, well, there won't be much traffic roaring back into Tauranga at 5 o'clock, so we'll see how that goes. But they're still doing works on here, but it's not to the superhighway standard that we have to the south to Wanganui, or the ones north and south around Hamilton. And there's so much traffic, all these big trucks here carting produce away from the market gardens and the packing houses all through here. Just this last weekend, Saturday, I joined the Ride Forever Gold Riding Certificate group. There were 6 of us participated in that. Now there was the gold riding is more tailored to individuals out on the highway and just refreshing things. New Zealand ACC sponsors that because they recognise that we're all in a high demographic for crashing and killing yourself, you see. So they put these courses on for those returning to riding, and in an effort to reduce your insurance and or risk. So we went over the pros and cons of riding powerful bikes when you're returning to ride, because when we first learnt to ride bikes, we got our driver's license in a Weet-Bix packet, really, compared to what they expect you to know nowadays. Roundabouts weren't about when I got my driver's license, and the power of these bloody bikes and braking and turning and U-turning and all those sort of things were revisited. And the instructor had us wired up so that we had an earpiece in our ear, and he would sit behind me and tell me this and tell me that until he was satisfied that I was doing it okay, and then he'd move on to the next one. We went through twisties and on narrow roads on the back ones, but the one that was most impressive was the emergency braking. Now I had been practicing the emergency braking at lower speeds, under 40 kilometres an hour, but I'd never really locked her up at 100 kilometres an hour. And now I've got a lot of confidence in this bike now to stop. She's a beaut. And so, if you can imagine, I'm going to go 100 kilometres an hour down this hill here. So that's up to 100 k's now, there on that time, but 100 k's, and then hoe into the brakes and pull her up. Well, it's only your confidence and fear that stops you doing that. But if a sheep were to run out or a cow to run out, you have to do that, you see. And now I know how this bike can pull up at 100 k's. It stays steady and stable, the tyres lock into the bloody ground, and she just pulls up beautiful. And the ABS, or the automatic braking system on it, just chatters away there and pulls you up as quick as it possibly can. So I was proud of myself to be able to lock her up at 100 k's there and pull her up within a short distance. And the time that I better let this big bugger go, because there's not much room underneath it there for a bike and me. So the instructor, Kevin, from this Ride Forever, also has track days over here at Hampton Down. That's about 2 hours away, a racetrack over there between Auckland and Hamilton. And at this track day there is a club circuit, not the main racing circuit, but the club circuit, and they can hire that club circuit midweek, and there's no one else on there except learner track riders. So I've booked myself in for that. That's for October, And so they get you to take your mirrors off, tape up your bloody speedo so you're not concentrating on that, and all you do is learn to go through the corners at a faster clip than you'd do on the open road. And what he was saying is, he says you bring the track skills back out onto the road and ride within the speed limit. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and I've paid me money and I'm in. There's only 5 spaces left when I booked for the track riding training in October. One thing that Kevin helped me with a lot was the position of my hands. I have it very straight on to the accelerator here, straight on like so. He said, but if I kick it out like that, turn it on a 45-degree angle, then my elbow does the twisting, you see, right out wide, like that, as opposed to my wrist doing the twisting, you know. And so that was a big improvement. Once I started riding with my hand on a 45-degree angle, it lessened the need to go and have carpal tunnel syndrome rectification. Wow, that was a big word that popped out of me, wasn't it? Now there's a nudist colony up in here at the back of Caddy somewhere. Not that I'm going looking for it for you, but it's up here somewhere. And I thought we'd just have a quick look around. They're big pack houses there. See, that's kiwi fruit in the back there. Have these beautifully trimmed hedges. Look how skinny they are. I see signs out for avocados, mandarins, and the kiwi fruit are probably being harvested now, but look at it. Kiwi fruit through there. Kiwi fruit to the left there. I'll see if I can get a story out of this bloke. Oh, well, he didn't want to be on film, but he gave me a lot of information. His name's Raoul or something like that, from the Solomon Islands. He's part of 7 in his team here that are doing pruning of the kiwi fruit vines. It's his day off today, and he just wandered into town to get some snacks and things to keep him occupied. But he said he came out here at the beginning of COVID and couldn't go back, and the company keeps getting extensions, so he's happy with that. As a 27 or 28-year-old man out here, able to build up some money. He said they're starting to build a house back in the Solomons for him on his family land there, and he would just never be able to do that if he was back on the Solomons, you know. No chance of getting enough money together to put a house together. But when he's out here, he can send money back and get it underway. And he's got a young lady back there that he called his fiance or something like that. He used a different word for it, but girlfriend if you like. And he got plans for the future back in the Solomons, but he's very grateful to be able to come out here and earn some cash. Now, I don't know where this nudist colony is, and we just keep on going up here. We might come across it. Oh, wonder if it's behind there. No, that's avocados, and they just cover it all up so that it's all protected from the birds. This range of hills up ahead here is called the Kaimais. Anyway, who would want to be running around with no clothes on up here this time of the year? I think we'll call off this search and head back out over to Bowentown. I reckon I've come up the wrong road. See, straight ahead there's the estuary that runs between Tauranga and Bowentown. Isn't there a lot of plastic up in the air there? The infrastructure to grow vines or kiwi fruit, that's all new stuff there. They're must be going to put kiwi fruit in there. Banging it in. Used to go cows, but now there's more money in the market gardening, isn't there? That's what we were looking for, the Catty Naturist Park. We'll have to do it in the summer. Out to the right, that bit of land out there across the water is Bowentown Heads. That's where there was a par site in years gone by. And directly ahead over the front here, before we get to that house, that's called Mere Island, a plate volcano out to sea. It's a lot quicker to go out to Mere Island from if you launch from this end of the estuary than it is from way down Tauranga. This is our turn off to Waihee Beach here, so we'll take that one. Follow the chute around. Bang it down a couple of gears down to number 3. Looks like we have to wait for that car. Just check all clear. Yeah, no one passing me. So this is the road across to Waihee Beach, which is that way, or Bowentown, which is that way. Now there's a heap of batches out on this peninsula of land here, out to the peninsula. So we're rocking up on Waihee Beach here. A lot of new housing out here, newest housing estates and retirement homes, etc. out here. But we're going to Bowentown. Let's have a look at the beach first. Check right, check left, sneak ahead. Yeah, that's Mere Island way out there. Back up there's Mount Maunganui. Motokawa Island, there's a little one over that person. And that's on up to Whangamata, up that way. Big sea ships, they call them bulk carriers, they're waiting to get into Tauranga. Now we're riding out an isthmus of land out to Bowentown out here. I got an estuary out to my right and the sea out to my left. And the car behind me wondering what I'm doing standing up. So we're coming up onto the Bowentown Domain. Let's cut up the hill then. I was wondering what that noise was, but it's a helicopter above me. So I'll put the bike here and we'll go for a walk up where those people are there, and I might be able to explain a little bit more about it. So these stands here, but as we approach this bit of a hill here, you can see that that was a par site there, so the palisades would have been on top of that, and this is a trench to stop people coming and going down there like that to that cliff. And these are like middens here with all the shells and that from years gone by, gathered here and then brought up here to the far side to either make tracks. No doubt these rocks here were all part of the fortification. A commanding view right away up the estuary there. Matakana Island through to Mount Maunganui there, that pinnacle. Motukawa there. And around the back here is Mare Island. A large body of water, got to go out over this bar here. And it's nearly a kilometre out there to where it gets real shallow. And either at the bottom of the tide there, that's when you can rock and roll on the jet ski. Can you see a bar just here to the left, that white water? And to the right is the marker buoy to help you line up to come in and out. That view there looks up towards Auckland, up the Coromandel Peninsula, and up behind the clouds there's Auckland. I left the lights on the bike deliberately to see what it was like from the distance. They're not too dazzling. This would have been part of the fortifications here from years gone by. If you can imagine, on the hill I'm standing on here would have been a picket fence, or and gives you a chance to stop your enemies coming up the hill at you. This looks like it's a boat club here too. I'll have a look at this area for my peace of mind, because this might be the place to put the jet ski in rather than out there on the peninsula. Bowentown Boating and Sporting Club. Oh wow. A boat ramp that's closed. No driving of boats onto trailer at all. What happens with that is the bloody propellers scoop the bottom of the concrete out and leave a cavity there, and then at super low tide you back your trailer over the end of the ramp, unbeknown that there's a cavity there. Let's have a quick check out here and see what's going on. You sneak on down there to Tauranga. You can really only do it on the high tide, because you just run out of water at the joining of the two estuaries. There is a track through marked with marker buoys like this here, and you just keep close to those as you sneak through. But I've seen mud flying out the back of the jet ski as I'm getting through there at times. Now, as some of you know, in late pregnancy you tend to get Odema of the lower limbs and your hands and knees and things like that. Well, that's what I was experiencing there over the last month. When I take these riding boots off, there's imprintations in my leg there, and when I press, sure enough, pitting Odema. Now that got me to thinking congestive heart failure. I thought, what the hell, you know? So I'd go home and I'd put my feet up and it would go away. But then again, when I wasn't in these boots and in activity, I was walking around with big heavy legs, like walking in gumboots with water in them. I'm exaggerating a bit, but anyway, that's what it was a bit like. So then I got looking at me tablets for any side effects, and sure enough, phenidipine, it's on there for lowering the blood pressure. I'd only been on it a month or so, So I looked that side effect up, and a severe side effect is Odema. So I checked with my doctor. Yeah, sure enough, let's take that out of there. Within a day, the Odema subsided, and now I can even feel that there's nowhere near tightness in my riding boots. So there you go. Phenidipine is the name of the drug. Swelling of the feet is the side effect, and it's not for me. I don't want it. Anyway, my blood pressure's been okay at around 128, 136, over 80 to 85. That'll do me. But anyway, well, I've just looked at the fuel gauge, and I see I've only got 2 bars left, and that should get me back to Catty there, where I better give her a splash of juice to get me back to Tauranga. So that'll close off this little story here that I've been making up. Pity we didn't get to see that naturist park there, but never mind, you don't need to see that sort of stuff, do you? And there wouldn't be too many running around in this cold weather like that. So, I wonder what'll happen next, and I'll see you on the next one.
It sound right, boys.